I didn't realize how much trouble I was in when it all began. Just a fleeting curiosity, a spark that I thought could be extinguished. But that's the thing about sparks. They have a habit of igniting something far greater. And in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, where love is heresy and individuality is treason, my spark became a flame. It started with a discovery. As a scribe toiling away in the depths of the Adeptus Administratum, my world was monotonous. Day in, day out, I was surrounded by stacks of data slates drowning in the endless grind of servitude to the Emperor. My life was supposed to be one of unquestioning obedience, but deep down I craved more: knowledge, purpose, something beyond the drudgery. One day, in the labyrinthine depths of my workplace, I stumbled upon an ancient, fragmented data slate. It was different, alien, perhaps Xeno's. Holding it in my hands, I knew what it meant. This was heretical, dangerous, but I couldn't let it go. My curiosity, my yearning for something more, wouldn't let me. I needed help. Someone who could decipher the artifact, someone who thrived in the shadows where the Imperium dared not look. And so fate, or maybe the whims of the warp, led me to her. She was everything I wasn't. A rogue trader, independent, wealthy, and confident in a way that made her both magnetic and terrifying. While my life had been confined to the grey walls of the Administratum, hers had been spent traversing the stars, dealing in secrets and forbidden artifacts. Her ship, her wealth, her very presence, all spoke of a freedom I had only dreamed of. I still remember our first meeting. It was in the shadowed depths of a hive city, far from the prying eyes of the Imperium. The air was thick with smog and danger, the market teeming with whispers of rebellion and the black market trade of forbidden knowledge. She looked at me, her gaze piercing, as though she could see through every lie I might try to tell. When I showed her the data slate, she smirked. "You're braver, or more foolish than you look," she said, her voice tinged with amusement. And so the partnership began. Late nights deciphering texts in dimly lit corners, our hands brushing as we worked side by side. I didn't mean for it to happen, but somewhere along the way that partnership turned into something more. It was exhilarating, terrifying. Every glance, every whispered word carried the weight of potential heresy. Yet, in her presence, I felt alive for the first time in my life. She saw me not just as a cog in the Imperium's machine, but as a person. And I saw her, not just as a rogue trader, but as someone who, against all odds, understood me. But the Imperium sees everything, or so it feels. My burgeoning psychic abilities, long hidden even from myself, became a beacon in the warp. The Inquisition noticed. We were discovered. The chase began. We fled, her ship groaning under the strain of warp travel, the Inquisition's warships never far behind. The data slate was our only hope. A map, a guide to a forgotten world, a haven beyond the Imperium's grasp. It represented everything we longed for: freedom, safety, a chance to exist without fear. But the warp is a treacherous ally. It twisted reality around us, amplifying our fears, our doubts. It whispered promises of power, of safety, of everything we desired, but at a cost. And yet, through it all, we held on to each other. In the face of madness, our bond became our anchor. Then came the confrontation. The Inquisition caught us in their grasp, their warship trapping ours in a deadly embrace. The battle was chaos, bolter fire, psychic energy ripping through the air, and the rogue traders' desperate maneuvers keeping us just barely alive. And then the warp itself intervened. Our love, our heresy, had drawn the attention of demons. They tore through reality, their twisted forms a horrifying reminder of what lay beyond the veil. In the end, even the Inquisition had to relent. Faced with a demonic incursion, they chose survival over dogma. Together we fought back the Horde, our unlikely alliance holding against the tide of chaos, It was a bitter victory, won at great cost. The Inquisitor, wounded and shaken, looked at us not with hatred, but with something resembling respect, or at least understanding. When it was over, they let us go. Not openly, of course. The Imperium couldn't condone our actions, but they allowed us to slip away, to follow the data slate's map to the sanctuary it promised. As we stared into the swirling depths of the warp, I turned to her, my rogue trader, my partner, my love. "We made it," I whispered, though the weight of what we had endured still hung heavy in the air. She smiled, weary but determined. "Not yet, but we will. Our story isn't one the Imperium will tell. It's a whisper, a flicker of defiance in the endless shadow of oppression. But for us, it's everything. It's love. It's hope. And in the 41st millennium, even a whisper can be enough to spark a revolution."
Like and subscribe for the God Emperor or suffer his wrath.